We're going to be talking about Disintegration, the 4-shot that we had that just ended. And with me, I have Hannah, Mike, Justin, and Charlie here to discuss it. You're going to hear all about some behind the scenes stuff. I have a lot of questions. I think we all have a lot of questions about our characters, and we're going to dive in and find out all the good stuff. You can find more episodes of the show by visiting us at talesofterramir.com. We stream live on Twitch, but you can also find us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, and our handle Tales of Terramir. Uh, what was that, Mike? Tit tot, I think you had said before.
Threads, Insta, TikTok, under the handle Tales of Terramir. That's right, TikTok, exactly.
There we go. All right, that's gonna do it. We're gonna dive right into this.
See, he was paying attention. He knew.
This guy gets it.
I get it. Get it.
I don't think I would have remembered.
Yeah, Charlie, we know.
We know. Let's start from the very top, right? Let's, Mike, what started your ideas and inspirations for this story?
Oh, we're going to go that deep. Yeah. So at first, it was the first thing I came up with is had nothing to do with what we actually did. I actually took a sharp turn about like a couple of days into writing the first thing. And I don't know. I knew we were going into the Azuli Dominion, place that I wanted us to explore, somewhere that was new, uncharted territory. And I think I was just putting together some of the things that I was thinking about as far as like what would happen on the border, so far from like the kingdom of Korir, which is the kingdom that it was the edge of, and between that and the Azuli Dominion. And just one thing led to another, where breaking out sort of the logistics in my head, making plans and then trying to escalate them more and more, like, oh, how do I raise the stakes here and there, you know? And this was all actually also without knowing what your characters were, or how you guys were going to make your characters. So actually getting into it in that situation after finding out about what characters you were going to make made it a little bit more interesting. And then from there, I just started tweaking it. And then, of course, along the way, there were a few things that influenced it, but I think mostly it was just kind of, I can't think of it right now. I'm getting sort of a paralysis thinking about what my
we got to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so what did we play?
Disintegration.
All right, Charlie.
Yeah, I know some of that. No, yeah,
but
go
ahead.
No, I don't know.
I was gonna say, like, starting with the opening scene, right? You jumped right into combat at the start there.
Yeah, no, I thought that would have been fun. Something I've been trying as a DM to especially with very new games, just breaking up the sort of the flow of conventional games instead of just kind of like, oh, you meet at a tavern and introduce your characters and stuff. Mm-hmm. I wanted to show you guys in action, and it was also lending to the whole thing about like how you guys had this sort of family synergy union together, and it worked out pretty well. You guys were able to cooperate and do a bunch of teamwork, and also sort of already kind of place you in the middle of where your situation was, as far as you guys have been traveling together. You guys are already a party, and you know there's a reason that you guys are out here in the first place. So that I felt like that was a good kickstart to the whole thing.
It was unexpected to have just like the combat right out the gate. I bet it was fun from a character's perspective too, because you kind of build this character and it's like, all right, now you can just let's test them out right away. Right?
Yeah,
let's have the abilities and have some fun. I did like too how you were already a party, and it already felt like that. And that first combat, it felt like you already had some synergy going on there. So that was
yeah, I had this sort of like idea in my head cinematically that, you know, every time someone made an attack, they would just kind of, you know, it's your turn in the initiative. Let's zoom into this person. Let's describe what we're seeing and how they end up dispatching the next enemy, or, you know, showcasing their sort of abilities. And I just, in my head, it just seemed a lot cooler, especially with the what did I say, the off-genre action music too, and just again, cinematically in my head, I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's
also great because it compressed all the like upfront exposition stuff, and just we didn't do that, so we had more time to get through actual story.
Yeah,
I think part of it too was like my intention was that because of that, I wanted you guys to RP in order to bring out your characters more, as far as like how your characters react or what they would say in those sort of situations, especially when interacting with Cassie, who was the kind of a focal point, that I wanted to showcase. Because of stuff that happens a little bit later, of course, but as a driving force that held you guys together too. But yeah, to see how you guys would react was definitely part of how, putting in what you guys had to your characters and showing them off a little bit.
I wish I'd known that you had that cinematic thing in your head, because I would have probably done it differently. I've been like, zoom in on River, her claws come out. She gives a wink to the camera.
Yeah, no, totally. I try to describe it though, I didn't want. I know I threw you guys off a little bit, but I tried my best to make it seem like, oh, you guys were so cool.
Her name
at the
zooms
time,
in.
Exactly. I think I was like, because I remember you ran to one of the goblins. I think you used your tabaxi speed, and I'm like, an orange streak dashes across the battlefield, and you pull out your claws and cast scratch.
What about the each of the characters? Let's move on to each of the characters. Like, what were, I guess we'll go in order, whoever wants to go first, but starting with like how, I guess, some of the inspirations, ideas behind your characters, maybe some secrets you want to reveal up front here, and like how'd you see themselves relating to Cassie, for each of you? So who wants to go first? Talk a little bit about your character.
I've been yammering, so why don't you other two yammer?
I don't really have much. Mike didn't really give us a ton of information about the rest of the party.
That was a little bit last minute, yeah.
Yeah, so there wasn't really like big connections there other than kind of what we came up with during gameplay and stuff. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to go with
themselves.
Generic. I just went with generic grizzled army vet who got pulled back into the life.
Yeah, you forwarded me.
I have like 2 pages of stuff.
Yeah. So but that's a part of it, right?
I mean,
Charlie,
that's
you make up your own fucking character. I'm not gonna, and
yeah.
Also, like, not take responsibility, but partly, finding a way to have that synergy with your party, and that's true for any party, really. How do I say, determining your level of participation for how you want to be cohesive with your party, and it is sort of my fault. I did throw a lot of things at you guys last minute, but I thought you had a really good backstory, and it really lent to us being in that area. You said you were from Willowdale originally. No.
No. It was Ocean.
One of the port towns that was in.
Yeah, it was the port town across. Yeah,
which is
across
important.
the Gulf of Domir.
That's also important later on, because that's a part of River's backstory too, I believe. But
that port city.
Yeah, we're getting to that later. I think she makes a stop in there along the way. But, you being part of the Korean army and being in Willowdale really helped drive some of the story along.
Yeah, the early stuff.
Exactly. And I thought that was very helpful. It was very helpful for me to be able to channel some of that story in with you, especially when you were like talking about the Baron and knowing kind of the ins and outs of the town and what they were going to get into in the Azuli Dominion.
Yeah.
Plus, you're a fucking beast, man. I don't know how many nat 20s you rolled
Like
during the game.
2 characters in a row.
Fucking
2 characters
ridiculous,
in a row.
man. I
It's
know.
overpowered.
No, yeah. I wanted you guys to be prepared, but I didn't realize how prepared Charlie was.
I didn't even like realize what I was doing, and I don't think any of us ever played the samurai subclass. And
Oh my
goddamn, that
We're
fighting spirit
sleeping.
It's fun.
thing is strong.
That's I think that ability, the what was the reaction AC ability to? That's not even samurai. That's like a feat, right?
That you let me use like a finesse weapon feat.
Yeah.
I kind of shouldn't have been able to use, but it was one that would like boost my AC by 2.
Yeah,
And
but
my AC was already at like 18.
you think like a katana though, it kind of
It's
is
more
a
finesse
finesse
than it
weapon.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was just like, and it's actually when you asked me about that ability, I thought it was something else. So
were two
again, that's on me.
Because I took 2 like duelist abilities that are more for like the fencing characters, but like I don't know, in my head they're like, no, samurai build, like, and they don't have a katana in D&D.
No, they don't. No, I mean,
Yeah, which is
you can
weird.
Throw a longsword at it and reflavor it. I think that was easy enough. Your build though was very unique, and like I said, we had been sleeping on samurai, and you have to look into
I guess so.
playing one of those or Ronin. I wanted to be a Ronin, because you're masterless.
And this is basically his Ronin phase.
Mm.
What about Lesamore? Jicali. I want to hear about this character.
Yeah, Lesamore was fun. Fun fact, I almost was going to go by the short name Lessie, but I feel like Mike and I have so many characters that have similar names that and you were playing Cassie, and I was like, you know what?
Willa and Gemma.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
funny. Well,
I didn't even pick that up. Wow.
But,
Some more. Don't call her Lessie, right? But your reasons for not being called Lessie were fantastic. When you said it in game, I was like, "That okay? Let's roll with that." And
like,
I had to
cool.
fight
Respect.
myself too. Yeah, exactly. I had to fight myself to not call you Lessie during the game, which I had to correct myself a couple times too. So.
it was great. It was good though. She was a fun character to play. She's a little bit different from the norm. Even though she was a rogue, like she still kind of had like this quirky, like smarter side to her.
That's great. What do you?
We can obviously, if the audience or people watching haven't figured it out, the last name obviously is Razik's last name, right?
So whose idea was that?
That's my idea.
Oh.
Yeah. It thought it would be neat to kind of tie in some story there.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't really get to that part of it, but
we only dabbled, and I gotta tell you, man, there was so much about your all's characters, even yours, Charlie, for the 2 pages that you put into it, that I really would have liked to get into more. And that's kind of the challenge too with having a short shot, is you have to get them out there, give them a purpose, get it done, and then bring it back in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
because
I think just a mission.
I think that's part of why I was kept pressing on you guys. Like, hey, what are you guys gonna do after the fact? Just in case there's another short shot or 2 or 7 that we can
maybe we'll
touch
come
on
back
these cameras. Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to play River again.
I would have loved to see River too, which I have a bunch of questions for you.
Talking about River, it took me like 2 sessions to figure out she wasn't deaf and just knew sign language.
Oh yeah, seeing that for the first time, the signing, I wasn't really sure.
Yeah,
so we talked a little bit about
it was
this.
real.
Yeah,
I thought some of it was real. I mean, some of the stuff that Mike was doing looked very.
It is real.
legit.
No, that was real.
Okay.
It's as real as the South African.
Yeah. That, I guess, leading into sort of Justin's character, and I don't want to take over your character thing, but I remember when I was looking over your sheets that nobody picks sign language as one of the languages that they take, because nobody ever uses it. And I just I felt that again, with trying to bring unity to this party, it would have been one of the things that Cassie would have been thoughtful enough to learn in order to not only just communicate with you, but to bond with you. And prior to some of the games, when writing up some of the things, I had looked up a bunch of the signs to sort of push that.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought you were just really good at faking it because yours looked legit.
Yeah,
yeah.
See, Mike actually put in the work, Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really.
No,
carried
that was.
I
very
surprised
cool,
you. I thank you. But I surprised you. I don't even think you expected to actually do it. Maybe you just picked it because it was a cool little detail.
Yeah, that's why.
And I thought it was great as far as
I think it's smart for like a rogues to have. I think that makes more sense than like thieves can't. Who the fuck ever uses thieves can't?
Well, River was a bard.
Kind of the same thing.
River was a bard, but I mean, she. Well, you talk about your character, Justin. I just thought it felt natural.
Yeah,
Hannah was a rogue.
She was a bard, but she lived in the seamy underbelly, so she sort of had rogue-like backstory.
Right.
Which I got to from. So I have a cat named River, so that's where her name comes from.
What is this cat?
And I thought, okay, because usually when I'm building a character, I have one thing in mind, like one attribute, and I start there, and I'm like, okay, why is that a thing? And then I work backwards and just build everything else, just falls in place. So that's like my favorite part, is just like writing the backstory. But her River, my cat, was a rescue. She was like found in a gutter, like in the rain. So I thought, okay, so she didn't have a real like safe childhood. She lost her innocence early. And so that was the sort of seed that built into River's backstory, which is that she came across someone who actually did have that innocence, and like that person completed her, and she lived her innocence vicariously through this person who then got taken away from her. And so that's why she was so ruthless and was willing to do anything to get her back, even if it was betraying her party.
That's 2 characters you've made in Terramir that are named after your family.
I said the same thing. I was like,
I'm going through the rotation.
With, people, giving all
next you got to play your wife.
Yeah.
No, but that's really cool backstory, though. Love that.
And I think each of them, with their backstories like that, gave that specific drive to help bring them to where they were in the campaign in the short time when we first started. I know we didn't really elaborate on it, but I know that Lessamore was looking for something in particular too, which brought her to that area, which I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, I can. I think we mentioned she found out towards the end or she revealed towards the end what it was, because she found out like some information. But it was making sure I'm saying this correctly. She was looking for an item that her job basically had told her to go find. She was a head archivist. Yes, head archivist from Pangenan, from the capital. And she's hoping to find this item so that she can kind of get more access to things. But she was looking for the siphon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You got to be filled with so much Pangenan lore.
Right.
No,
I thought
that was a cool connection, though, between two of the one shots or long shots. I thought that's what that was, but I wasn't like.
See, you're one of those fans that are just like, oh, I bet that's the siphon. And they're looking for the artifact.
How many things can we put in here without asking Wes too many questions about the world he built?
Well, I mean, it also has to be a surprise for him, right? No, really.
Yeah.
The thing is,
no, that's the tricky balance of like, hey, Wes, what's this area like?
Wes puts a lot of trust in us, especially with this or Sweet Secrets, and even part of the Domerian Empire. He we would ask him things just very vaguely, but he put a lot of trust in us to, I don't want to say not fuck it up, but to help grow the area.
I trust you guys to grow it, and I trust you guys to I wanted to make your own out of it too. There's areas that you took that are undeveloped and made it your own, which I think that's cool. So
I think it fit too with Hannah's backstory. Pangina's, I think early Wes had established that they were looking not just for treasure or magic items. They were gathering them, sort of. And I've just thought that this would be another good thing for us to follow, sort of an Easter egg through some of the long shots too. And I even mentioned to Hannah, I'm like, wait, I didn't even realize that I'm putting the siphon back in your character's lap too, or in these single backstories. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, cool connection there. But then I guess we'll move on to the Madam Duck Tavern. You met Brander and Haley?
Brander and Haley. Yeah, Haley. Yeah. Weird spelling there.
How'd you spell it?
Halie. I don't know. Haley. I don't know why I did that. I think maybe I was just stream of consciousness typing, and that's how it came out. But
it's fantasy.
Yeah, George R. R. Martin.
I meant to point out too at one point that it was a Madam Duck Tavern. There was a duck hanging over the bar too. That never came up, but I had put it on.
But now we know.
Yeah, now you guys know. We're gonna go back and watch it and see.
I think I remember you mentioning that at some point. I could have sworn.
Did I really?
Yeah, I might have been in like the initial describing the tavern.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the Peabody with the little ducks marching out into the fountain.
No. I have a tendency to make all of my inns and taverns some duck related for some reason.
I like that.
Yeah, I had a duck thing for one of my characters' backstories a while ago. I don't know. It's just a thing.
I just really hate
ducks. I do.
It's good to know.
Don't even get me started on geese.
Yeah. But I thought that was a good place for us to, now we're getting, after the whole initial battle and getting to know our characters, now we're going into the tavern to get the quest.
I'd say because Wes was asking about doing the battle first. I think doing the battle first and getting us kind of quipping early made it wasn't just here's a tavern, do RP.
Exactly. No, sure. Kind of settle in.
Eased it in a little more.
Your area. And
was there
especially
stuff... Oh, sorry. Was there stuff in the tavern that was the stage a mimic? What else could we have gotten into?
No, that stage
was in there
specifically for you, River.
Specifically made for you.
It's I was
sure it was a mimic. I wasn't
going on the bar. Great. No. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, go on the bar. That's what it's for. I try to keep that in consideration, especially for the border town. I thought it would have been interesting to have sort of that stop for travelers in and out of the kingdoms. It had everything you needed, kind of like one of those super rest stops on the highway, but
a Buc-ee's.
Like a Buc-ee's that has a bounty counter and a full kitchen and showers and bathrooms and stuff.
10 years down the line, Brander has opened up Duckies.
Duckies. Oh, Duckies.
Hey.
Thanks, Charlie.
We got to make
it's canon. Now. Duckies across the kingdom of Career.
It really put what was the town from Hannah's game? It really put them on the map when a Duckies moved in.
Damstead.
Yeah, Damstead.
Yeah. Great.
Tune
in. Soul Survivors are gonna hit Duckies.
It's gotta be
20 different types of jerky.
-EE, right? That's how
it's
right. That's how they
apostrophe S. This place is great.
Yeah.
All little duck plushes.
Yes. Sure.
Now I'm all in on this play.
And also the Mountain Dog Tavern was because Duras was from there, is his watering hole, essentially. And he knew the people and the locals there, again, helping with the story and describing the areas so that somebody actually knew what they were getting into. Even stuff that Cassie didn't even know before, I guess, maybe getting to that area.
Yeah. Because you made it sound like we had been posted up there for at least a week or so, right?
Sort of, yeah. You guys moved into there trying to chase down, how did I say in Cassie's backstory, fortune and glory, trying to just use her skills very mercenary like, and just have a grand old time about it, which I never really got into that, but Cassie was that young human ranger. Nobody plays rangers, but I thought it would have been great to have somebody that was familiar with sort of the tracking and maybe have a rounded character to help lead the party. It's kind of also sort of a way to push you guys in the correct directions or into the situations, and then also try to get you guys to drive the story together rather than just me leading you, railroading you into which, I mean, it kind of sort of had to, but having you guys,
I mean, that's the nature of a short shot.
I know it's unfortunate, and again, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I wish I really had a lot of time to get into some of your characters, because you guys did a lot of surprising things, and I was just like, "Oh, let's explore that." Oh shit, we're out of time already.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll get to that, someday.
We didn't get to go into Cassie's character much either. I feel like, right? Like, should we got her like.
How old was she?
Character
Because
came
you said
across,
she's
but her history,
yeah, her history. And that was part of that beginning sort of exposition narrative, trying to establish that you guys had met along the way. But I hated to sort of force the connection between your characters, but that was kind of part of the point of this long shot, is to keep you guys together, and later on, and it's no secret, spoilers alert, but to also at that point feel that sense of loss when you guys did lose Cassie. And I think that later on we can discuss it, but that was a turning point for the party and putting all of the decisions in your hands, sort of. But yeah, we didn't really get into her character. I mean, it was sort of like hey, you guys already kind of know her, but there wasn't a lot of time for questions. Although I would have I always welcome that. I always welcome the questions in the RP and try to bounce off whatever you guys say. And we did have those campfire chats, which was another good opportunity to show the relationship between her and your respective characters.
Why don't you talk about Baron Hellstrom a little bit?
Ooh, that guy's great, isn't he?
Oh, what a good shit heel.
Yeah. I thought it was right. I thought it kind of fit for the position that he was in. A little bit of his backstory: wealthy, successful businessman who sort of moved into that position of being the overseer of that town. And I felt that maybe he did it well enough, and he was far enough that King Torhammer allowed him to just take care of the stuff at the border. Of course, there were Korean. Yeah, but I mean, King Torhammer has his own problems, right? And there was a peace between his kingdom and the Azuli Dominion. I felt that with the Baron being the way that he was, it was a good opportunity for him to take advantage of his situation. and you guys find out later that he was actually instigating those attacks from the orcs so that he could get more money and get more resources and just be in charge and reap all the benefits, damn all the people around him. But if the kingdom supported him, then, and he led the king to believe that this was what was happening, then someone like him would totally do something like that.
The only people who suffer are the men, women, and children.
Yeah, well, why does he give a shit, right?
Yeah.
He's got all the money, right? And then you guys also find out later, especially through Duras, that he has been also invested in some of these other unsavory businesses, like the slave trading, which also tied into River's backstory, trying to accommodate some of that stuff because they were so far from the kingdom. I thought it was a good opportunity for the Baron to get his hands into that as well and get involved and sort of give you, River, some incentive to do the things that had to be done, especially with Eva / Fabian. Though, man, I think you surprised the shit out of me during the game. You did a lot of things that I didn't expect, and I just I want to talk about this because it's something that had been weighing on me for a long time. It was a big lesson for me as a DM, I think, taking what I knew about you guys as players and then overestimating how you would react as your characters really taught me something about that. It's just, I didn't think that you were going to do some of the things that you did. You too, Duras. You too. It was just, I was like, oh, surely they'll come around. But no, you guys really stuck with your characters. There was nothing I could do to influence you in a certain way. Even trying to pull at your heartstrings at a certain point, but I think it still turned out well. But man, you guys really fucking surprised me.
We tried to break it. We were just doing a QA monkey test on your game.
Yeah. Well, you almost got me. You guys almost got me, but it was challenging for me, but it was also fun to see how you guys would react. I hope that. Go ahead.
I was just say we're glad we could have brought you grief that made you grow.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I made the Baron and Morden shitty enough for you guys to at least get in that direction.
They're clearly evil, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Morden had that soft side to him with
Yeah,
poems and stuff.
yeah, his
I thought
poetry
that might have
and-
gone somewhere.
his
Gotta get
he
into
tried
it.
to do.
His open mic night, which I thought was hilarious.
Right.
It's like,
Oh,
you put
yeah.
yourself out there for years. You just can't nobody appreciates.
It was probably the grumpiest poetry ever, too.
Yeah.
Just imagine
No
it was
friends.
like the
Darkness.
Vogon poetry from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
It's just so
I don't get that one.
Just,
Oh.
Marvin does the.
Well, there's Marvin, but there's the aliens and they torture.
Oh, that's
people by
Vogon.
reading
Yeah,
their- yeah.
Right, that's right. Yeah, no, I feel like you guys really, really banded together on that one against Morden, so that helped a bit.
Why don't we move on to when you guys were leaving for the border and the supply depot on the way out from Willowdale? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
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 No, that was where we met the chained up teenager.
Oh,
Right.
Craxus,
Craxus,
the store
Tallahassee
I
store.
forgot about that whole thing.
Yeah.
I thought we were supposed to do something there, like release him, like get him free, but
Maybe.
the mission. Yeah.
And
Hey,
again,
look.
that's up to you guys too. It that one was specifically to poke at your reactions for injustices, obvious injustices. River, I thought that you may have, because all tabaxis know each other apparently, may have like,
Oh.
you know what I mean? At least thought
Well, they know
that
each other
that
by
would have been
scent.
right. That might have triggered something in you, and maybe act on that while you guys were obligated to do this mission for the Baron to find Fabian.
Yeah, I kept her single track mind. She had one thing in mind, and there was no time for pity.
It was like, what am I gonna have to do to get a reaction out of?
Cassie was constantly pleading to her conscience, like,
I know,
no.
man, and that's something
sure?
I want to get into. I'm like, you guys are supposed to be close. What was that? That's one of the things I wanted to ask you. What was that prevented you from sharing your conflict with the party?
River always planned to, if they got hold of Fabian, to put a knife to his throat, and doesn't matter what it did to the mission or what it did to anything, he was going to put a knife to his throat and use him as leverage against the Baron for getting the details of where Feather was. So knowing she had to slightly betray Cassie, she always had to keep her at a little bit of distance, because she knew that she would never understand if she told her up front. So she's always kind of like, you promise you'll forgive me in the future? Like, don't judge. She was laying the groundwork to break her heart.
It was hard. It was. And when we even had that confrontation in the Hellstrom Hall, and you did that I think was probably one of the most surprising things, because I didn't actually see that coming. I thought that you may not have been as ruthless as to do something like that. And
Justin was playing 4D chess over there with his.
Yeah, no, but
4D ball of yarn. Considering
everything that your backstory had to do with your backstory, it made sense and it was sensible, and we played along with it, and I thought that was the right decision for your character. It was sort of wrong for me to try to force this unity, but you play D&D, and it's a cooperative thing, right? Everybody has to sort of have this silent contract of cooperating with each other, and I felt that despite that, I felt that what you did was the right choice. It just made sense, and I can't fault.
Well, especially because it was a short shot. Like I think I would have evened her out a bit if it was a longer game. Like, she's got to work with these people for a long time, and so. But I wasn't concerned with that, so I made a really uneven character where I dumped all of her stats into charisma, pretty much. And
that was good for a bard. That was great.
Yeah. She probably wouldn't have survived any other campaign long term. But I was like, she might die in this one. But I'm gonna do an uneven one-track mind character.
That's the time to make those risks, right? In these
Mm-hmm.
kind of short shots and kind of go the extreme for things like that. So.
I feel like that imbalance is also very acceptable for a character. Instead of even just making a well-rounded character or an OP character, or like what is it? What do we call it? An OP build of sorts, Duras, and it just. I think that it makes. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
I feel like to do that. I'm the one who loves giving characters weaknesses and everything.
I know. That's why
Charlie,
we know. Yeah, we know.
Yeah. I rolled the most insane stat block.
Fucking stupid. If anybody we should post that in the channel too at some point. Yeah. And see how kind of stupid rolls that you did for yourself. But I think
real dice here.
I think that the imbalance really helped with your characters. I like characters with weaknesses, especially in the games that I'm running, is because it gives people the opportunity to play to their strengths and not be the, hey, I can do this and that and that. That's why I don't like.
Yeah, it's no fun in a party when you have a character that can just do everything. It's like
Right.
that's why you have a team, you know. It's like let this person do that
100%.
thing they're good at instead of that, you know, you don't need to be good at every single thing. So yeah, it's good to have
100%.
some flaws in some things.
But yeah, no, that, like I said, that really surprised me. I forgot what we were talking about originally. Just the border station and dealing with Craxus. I think that I also wrote in that if you guys were, if any one of you were going to do something about what you saw, the situation that you saw, then Cassie would have tried to talk you guys down too. And that was really part of the point of Cassie, is to try to even you guys out, try to push you in a direction and help you guys work together to get the job done. And then also, like I said, pull your all's heartstrings towards the end.
Try.
Yeah. No, I was trying hard to get you guys moving, or to at least have some sort of connection, if not with each other, then with at least Cassie. And then
but I think it worked because there was that tension of like, she really wanted to convince or to get at River, like without even being judgy. She was like, it sounded like she just really wanted to, like, are you sure about this? So obviously she was at odds with the choices River was making, but that tension between you trying to pull and her resisting, I thought it worked.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I wish we could have pulled that longer, especially with all your characters. There was so much to interact and engage with between each of your characters, because all of your characters were so different, and to try to wrangle all of you together at the same time, like even like when you and Duras were, I wouldn't say like butting heads so much, but like Duras was always giving you shit about being a cat person, and you were just like, oh, I'm gonna slit his throat when he's sleeping. I thought that was awesome. That's part of a party, and that's part of it. And I thought that worked out really well. But to your point, as far as Cassie being at odds, I mean, like I said, you guys were very different, and she had to, I don't want to say she's a people pleaser or make everybody happy, but she respected everybody's space, I think. And she genuinely cared for all of you.
That's what I loved about Cassie. R.I.P. God's rest her soul.
Well, hopefully not for long.
Yeah,
not for long. Right.
What about that initial that initial combat in the desert was really cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're gonna switch to this map. No big deal.
Yeah.
With the dire hyena druid, that was unexpected. I was kind of nerding out a little bit from
oh, cool.
Yeah. I was like, oh, for one, I was just like, cool to see desert and Terramir in the show, like seeing that different environment. That was fun, seeing the camels and all that. And then the switch up on the dire hyena druid, like having that change was like, whoa, cool surprise there. And then that first bit of orc language too.
Did you practice orc, Mike?
Yeah.
No, and I
did you use a translator? Because you seem to have like a whole thing down.
No. So I did a bunch of stuff. The orc language, I had made a list of phrases to use for different situations, and put loose translations depending on the situation of it too. It was a mix of Orcish, Dothraki, Klingon, and a whole bunch of bullshit. So I'm glad that it sounded great.
It sounded good.
Thanks, man.
Really great.
Moving into this different territory, I wanted it to sound, like I wanted you guys to be like, oh shit, this guy's pissed off, and
I feel like in that language everything
exactly. Yeah, I mean,
they were all
Klingon and Dothraki
all the time.
You know what I mean? So
you guys lost in the desert.
And I thought that was a good opportunity at first too, because they might not necessarily know common also, but Duras was right. I didn't even check into the last minute that Duras was the only one that knew Orcish either, and I didn't know if he was going to translate for you, so that's why I also had the translations out loud of sort of what they were saying, because I wasn't going to say some of this bullshit. and it not mean anything, and then Durst
Right.
be like, "What does that mean?" And like, "Oh, you will die." But I thought that it really fit with some of the characters, especially those orcs, man. And that's the thing. I know it was only the druid and the snake, which I thought was awesome because obviously it's a hyena and a different snake, and it's two different animals cooperating for this thing. But then you find out that it's a druid who is controlling the snake. I did leave a little bit of a clue there too when I first introduced him, that the hyena had the bark armor, which is a druid power. Something that some of the shapeshifters do is they do the bark skin and then do the shapeshifting so that their animal forms have some sort of armor too. And I thought
we should have figured, where'd they get wood in the desert?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I tried, man, maybe I should have did something different. Like,
well, there's some trees.
Desert,
there's like dead trees like in that area. Like, yeah.
Right.
And I mean, they were
still really just the
raiding
Dune Sea
towns.
is really the area that's just like pure sand.
Yes, that's a very important distinction. Thank you for mentioning that, because that was part of it, is that it wasn't all sand. It was also the dry ground, dead ground, and cliffs and rocks and stuff.
Rocky areas.
Right. You still needed the hyenas because of the heat, but because we're not in the total sand. It wasn't from where river was from in the Dune Sea.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to just do the dire hyena. I thought that was a cool idea instead of just the dire wolf. It's like make a big giant hyena in the desert animals, And I was also looking up desert monsters, and I'm like, oh shit, they can't beat that. No, oh shit, that'll kill them.
I don't know. Maybe you should have tried.
Maybe I should have tried. I'm not good at the balancing, especially when I throw all that shit, the magic items at you guys and stuff.
But, are there sandworms in D&D?
There are worms. There's like
worms,
but
they're more like tremors.
Yeah.
There's more frost worms than there's a frost worm, and there's a purple worm.
Yeah.
And then there's like, what's the one that kind of looks like a centipede? They're all like ice Arctic, but there aren't sandworms. No.
But I mean,
official canon at least.
It wasn't anything that we couldn't reflavor. But this is one of the things about the short shot thing, is that the only reason that one of the biggest reasons I only had two people at you guys is because I didn't want you guys to get in the desert and not fight anything to sort of show the dangers in there before you got to the orc encampment. And again, with a short shot, it's very difficult to portray some of that stuff with a short amount
without giving a bunch of rests and stuff. And
I had to throw at least a unique combat in there, and have you guys move to the next area before getting to the orc encampment. But it was sort of like a flavor, a little bit of a taste. So, and that was one thing that I don't want to say regret, but I really wish we got way deeper into the Azuli Dominion, but we didn't really have to. This is just some of the initial dangers close to the border, and who knows what. So there's more to be explored, of course, especially if we ever get to follow Lussamor's thing. Oh, I had a great idea too. If Lussamor ever gets back into the Azuli Dominion, there's a lot of stuff I want to throw at you. So you might have to play Lussamor again.
Yeah.
Main character coming up.
Yeah. So
with Cassie.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
she's coming back.
She's coming. Did you guys do it? We'll see. But yeah, it wasn't totally disappointing. It was begrudgingly having to keep it short, and I thought you guys did really great with it. So thanks for rolling with it.
I think that's a good place to go ahead and pause here. We're going to take a little break. So if you're here with us, subscribe to our Twitch channel, and you can receive exclusive emotes, ad-free viewing, and all that really good stuff. Don't forget, you can subscribe for free with an Amazon Prime account. And thank you to everyone who subscribes. It really helps us out. And we're going to be right back. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Talkin Terramir. We're talking Disintegration. We're going to get right back into where we left off, which I think we were talking about the starting to leave in the desert. And then what about the first camp you all had? Cass's routine, making the rounds to talk to each of the characters.
Yeah. Just another way to show Cass making those connections with the rest of the player characters. Definitely I felt like definitely she had a different dynamic between each one of you. Though I'd like to hear how you guys felt about your interactions with Cass.
I think it was like cinematic. You know, you were talking about that earlier, where you have the main this main character kind of making the connections with each person, making her rounds. I think that was pretty neat how you did it.
Right.
Yeah, who else did she interact with a lot?
I think she made a point.
River.
She made a point to at least check back with all of you.
Everyone. Yeah.
And talking about your sort of contentions with each character, I know Lessamore had when talking to Lessamore, it was also to help drive the story of what she's looking for, which was obviously the siphon. And I think that was one important thing too, is that your informant back in Boulder.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear more about that as well.
One. Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
We're going there.
Every time they got her and Cassie kind of met, she was like learning some more information or remembering more information, essentially. And at that point, she had remembered that she had spoken to someone named Symphona. I think it was a elf bard. Actually, it was a very popular elf bard.
Yeah, it was a gender neutral elven glamour bard. Who is under the guise of a semi-successful performer, but which was the perfect sort of cover for someone who is an information dealer, and she was the one that gave you the information about the siphon in Boulder.
Right. She had like
they.
Yeah, they had learned it from a cleric who had supposedly spoken with somebody else.
They seduced the cleric, and they looked through it.
Right.
They looked through their stuff, the cleric stuff, and found that information. But that was talking with Lessamore was to help drive the siphon backstory. The thing with River, I felt, was trying to, especially after learning how you were acting and how you wanted to portray her, as far as like what your purpose was. It was a good way of what you were saying before, her trying to get it out of River to share with the party, but she was keeping it so close to the chest that I don't know. I felt like or Cassie wanted to respect your space, while at the same time help bring the party together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was good about not launching into like how could you kind of speeches. She was she was like, oh really, okay, but like always with that air of acceptance.
It was your secret to keep, and it was your burden to carry. And when I think she felt when the time was right that you would do it, which R.I.P. again, she wasn't alive when you did, but
almost a good thing.
Yeah. And even with Duras, though, I feel like she and Duras were almost like combat buddies, like battle buddies too. And it was just that shooting the shit and punching each other on the arm and drinking.
And
sort
then,
of
like,
dynamic older sister.
Yeah. Well, for her to not do anything after Duris, like, throw a ration to the 2 kids at the one camp that we passed through.
She wasn't there.
Yeah, I was the only one there.
He was the only one bringing up the back and noticing.
Oh, we didn't know. We didn't see them there.
Yeah, it was just Duris
Oh.
at the time.
Or Mike was just, don't kill these kids.
Ooh, trying to bait you, see what you would do. Like, oh, you hate orcs? Let's see what you're gonna do now, motherfucker.
They're as good as dead out there anyway.
Oh, see there.
there it is.
There it is. Come on, the hunting party was coming back. But yeah, no, I felt the camping was a good way to touch back with the characters and help show the progress of where the characters were at in the story, especially with the events unfolding before them.
Yeah. No, it worked out.
Very cool. And then you found the orc camp.
Yeah.
There was a samurai duel.
Yeah. I had to throw that in. I
had to, right?
I just felt like it had to be a thing. You were rolling all these fucking 20s and you were just killing
big roll.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, man, I was prepared for you, but I was rolling like absolute trash. So
that's the worst.
You really gotta over it. It's like, oh my god, I cannot believe these rolls are going the way that they are right now. But it just seemed cool, you got a samurai in the party. Why don't we just do a cool samurai duel?
Mm-hmm.
Big samurai duel.
Yeah, and he's talking shit to you in orc, and he's like, I'm gonna take your blade. Like, oh my god, I felt like that was cool. Not just defeat you, but I'm gonna take your weapon.
I wish they had subtitles when you were.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
No, it was just lip synced, but poorly lip synced, so it didn't actually.
Should have thought about that. Like, it's be like, hey, Wes, I'm gonna be talking in orc, and then after the fact, we're gonna throw in some subtitles in post.
If you try to do it live, Daniel would be like, please, God, no.
We got a closed caption Mike's bullshit.
My bullshit, very convincing orc, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Samurai duel. So
the orc chieftain tent. You had the sequence with Gal.
Gaal, because
Gaal.
I was painfully reminded that I didn't.
Orcs need the glottals.
Charlie remind you? It is our
in.
in-home canon, right?
Yeah.
That Charlie created.
Different.
It's a consonant and then the name.
Yeah. That's where the main confrontation was happening. This was very it was uncertain for me. This is one of those points as a DM where you're just like, I have no idea how the characters are going to react, especially how you guys were acting up until this point. You were either meant to kill him, like you guys did, and it did not disappoint. Well, you did disappoint a little bit. And I think that Hannah, as Lassie, picked that up at one point. You were just like, Fabian at one point was just saying, please stop, please leave us alone. We don't want to do any harm. And Hannah was just like, oh, I don't like that.
Oh, yeah, what do we do?
It could have gone any of two ways, but you guys chose a path, and that's the path that we had to follow.
Yeah, so did you have another path if we did stop?
I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you. There's a different... there's a couple of ways that this would... well, okay, so...
Well, now's the time. But I understand if you want to hold some back for future things.
Yeah, just tell us something else that was, behind out of frame. That would be
We missed
Be
like 10
interesting.
gold somewhere in the tent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you would lifted up that teapot.
I know
Small
backstory
golden
wise, I
duck.
don't
You have no
No.
idea how
think
many
my
times
character would have stopped.
that happens.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna share that bit. What did happen though is that you completed your mission. And that's what you guys were there to do. And as characters and as your party, I think that that's what you had set out to do. And it was just very curious for me how, especially after Fabian had come out, after you guys had slayed Gaul, and she came out, and it just was revealed that she was connected to this Auric chieftain. That you guys still acted the way that you did. Is there anything that you guys want to elaborate about that? It surprised me. It just, like I said, as what I know you guys about you guys as players, and then knowing what I know about your characters now, I didn't expect some of those things.
Answer for yourselves.
Yeah,
I mean,
explain yourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was alluding to earlier, my character's backstory is that his family was like killed by one of these orc raids. So I don't think Duras ever had an ounce of like, oh no, yeah, we gotta listen to help save the orc. Like,
Even
like I think just in there and just kind of military veteran and just kind of dealing like, I think Haley from the tavern was also a girl like the bartender kind of took in after her family was, and it's like in his mind, it's like these are just like orc raids, and it is just a war on the front. So
sure,
there is
absolutely.
like civilian collateral that you're not gonna avoid.
And despite how Eva felt, or Fabian at the time felt about it, you were just intent on.
Yeah, and he was
the
just
massacre.
in battle mode at that point after a samurai duel, and then having this big berserker guy
see
in front of
that.
him. Yeah.
River or Lessamore, anything you guys have to say for yourselves?
Lessamore tried to understand. She definitely stopped herself. She heard like Fabian or Eva
Yeah,
talking
at the
out.
time.
So she tried to connect with her mind.
Yes.
Yeah. But it didn't seem to do much. I don't remember if she actually ended up dealing much damage. Maybe at the end.
You had started and then you pulled back. I
Yeah.
remember that. And then in the point of you talking to Eva, it was partly not to give everything away, and then also partly her being confused because you had hidden yourself and didn't understand what was going on. Part of it, and that's the thing of the telepathy, is that you might be finding this out later on. I don't want to give away too much, but she may or may not have already been hearing voices in her head due to something. Right. So, I mean, that's part of the sort of hesitation.
You're at the orc's grave walker.
Yeah. So that was a
dang.
Yeah, it was a difficult situation. It was part of one thing and another from column B also, but I applaud your earnest effort in doing so. And River, what say you?
River is true neutral. I mean, honestly, whatever needs to get her to her goal. She's not ostensibly evil. Like, she doesn't inflict evil on purpose.
Yeah.
But if anything, if it's somebody else's fight, she wouldn't have gotten to where she is and survived as long as she had if she had a soft heart. So.
I understand that. I absolutely understand that, and I respect that as a player who is RPing their character, that the way that their character was made is that you played River true to her characters, no matter how hard I try to pull at my players' heartstrings, you play to your character. And I really felt that I was going in here with a sort of like you guys would be like, oh shit, maybe we need to turn this around. But you guys played more to your characters than you played yourselves, which like I can't fault that, you know. I had to adjust to that situation, and I think it still turned out well. But
yeah, I couldn't tell that you were off balance at any time.
There was always a chance that you guys weren't going to do what I wanted you to do, and it didn't happen. And it's very hard. It's very hard too, because the way that your characters were built, and I don't want to say at odds at each other, but you all had very different opinions about the situation, and it just played out the way that it did.
Yeah, the way that it would if those people really were together.
Yeah. I wanted Eva, Fabian. Actually, at that point, when Eva started speaking Orcish too, I wanted to put in that detail that she had been integrated enough into the tribe, and that part of her character where she learned Orcish to be with Gaal and to continue living her life with him. I don't know if anybody caught also after you dealt the killing scratch to the jugular. Yeah, I had to do one of those cutscenes. You know, when you play a video game, you do the final blow on the enemy, and they switch to the cutscene. That's essentially what that was, because I didn't want you to kill him right away, and that was part of the thing. It was like, are you guys? Oh man, don't fucking kill him! I have to do a whole thing. I have to do a whole thing to show what kind of a piece of shit Morden is right now. So,
well, at least we didn't cut his head off.
No, well, yeah.
Not yet.
Did anybody catch the parchment that Morden tossed when he entered the tent? You had delivered the killing blow, and he was about to say something to you, Gaal, and then he started choking, and then the black veins started spreading across his body and his face, and he almost died instantly. And then Morden walked in, tossing aside a parchment that was burning up, and he effectively had finished the job. He casted a kill spell on Gaal, which
is a scroll.
It was a scroll. It was a high-level scroll, which he actually had access to because of the Baron, compliments of the Baron, and he was able to cast just to make sure that that Fabian would be removed from the situation for good. And that's why Eva and it was part of that was also to show a little bit of Morden's magical powers as well, sort of bleeding into what Morden really was. And this was also done deliberately between the Baron and Morden. If you had noticed, I don't know if you guys caught it, but they would very, very deliberately talk about orcs in a particular manner, and they would also speak about Fabian / Eva in a particular manner. Morden would always be like, pick him up or cut off its head. Very dehumanizing things for the orcs, but very deliberately identifying Fabian or Eva as Fabian rather than as who she really wanted to be. The same thing went for her father too. I know, again, such a short shot. I had to be very heavy-handed with some of these things, but I was trying to make it obvious and effective at the same time that these people, Fabian's father, the Baron, and Morden had very little to no respect for what anybody else thought. This was about what they wanted to happen. And,
by the way, in that kind of moment when that was all happening, I was like, oh my God, this is a Western.
Oh yeah.
This is kind of a Western, isn't it?
And the Baron was the evil sheriff.
Rescue. Yeah, kind of like felt like a rescue mission, like taking from the evil, Indians, sort of that style of Western. And
Whoa, Wes.
But no, that was the play on it though, right? Was
Yeah.
like, no, they're not actually evil. They're real people, and you know, like I don't know. That's the
No,
vibe I get.
absolutely no, because and that was it's so hard to play like a dickhead like that. Somebody who has little respect for other people or other cultures or creatures and stuff like that. As a person, you know. But and I'm glad that you actually caught that, or like that I had to be heavy-handed with like, oh no, we made a mistake. They are actually people. And tried to at the very beginning, the Baron just being like, oh, these fucking barbarians and these savages, blah blah. And you get out there and they're just another culture. They're another species doing their whole thing. Yeah, this is their thing. Like, and you know,
and I think there is in that
they yelled at us that they wanted to kill us constantly.
Well,
there is that scene though where like that's happening, and all like Justin, Hannah, and Charlie are. I think there's a visible moment in their faces. They're like, "Oh, we're the bad guys."
Are we the bad guys? Right?
Are we the baddies?
Right.
Where I definitely could sense where they were like, "Oh, now this shit is real."
Whoops.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's got.
But I mean,
Yeah.
what Morton said, what's done is done, and they. God, it's hard to fault you playing your characters the way that you did, but you even though you realized it, you had to go through with it.
Well, we're not going to put their heads back on, so
yeah, their heads aren't going to go back on themselves, right? Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Oh God, there it is. Damn it! God damn it.
Well, I think Morden had just had enough of all this wokeness, and so that's really
evidently,
that's what drove him to be the way he was.
Yeah, there are a lot of things at play here. Again, it's so hard. I didn't want me to be heavy-handed about it, but to get those points across in such a short amount of time, I hope it played out well enough for you guys to have some sort of hesitation or ideas about what was happening. As far as I think the theme of the game.
Yeah. No, I think all of us personally, if we were not being so close to our characters, would have gone for the like moral redemption arc. But
yeah,
Hannah,
that was a fun play too, though. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
I thought that was a fun play too, though. Like the fact that, yeah, like typically maybe in a long form story, you might choose though like more moral path, but something with a short story, like you have that freedom to sort of take that short risk of playing something maybe not so morally correct. Something fun to explore. There's a lot of things
I think
a lot of fun things that were explored.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's a lot easier with the short shot too.
The wall.
Just to kind of go with the flow of the situation and not try and overthink it, because it's like you said, railroading, but there's kind of a point where it's like, oh no, we just need to like roll with these choices because we don't want to sit here for an hour.
Absolutely. I actually had said that to myself writing this. I'm like, you know what? If this doesn't work out, we're just gonna see what they do with it. Yeah. I'm not gonna it's absolutely what you said, Charlie. Don't overthink it. You just roll with it and play off of the players. And I think
there's
that
less
it was very
jeopardy
for me too.
Of did I just fuck up a 2-year-long campaign right at the beginning?
I mean, not that you haven't.
We found ways around.
We recovered quickly.
Do you know what I've had to do for the Wildman campaign?
Oh, well, no, it's fun. Charlie, your character was also one.
No, yeah.
And I thought that too. I know we had picked up, I think it was episode 3, we picked up coming out of the tent, Morden had, saying, oh, cut off its head and pick him up, and stormed out. And Cassie just having that moment of realization that are we the fucking bad guys, and storming out to Morden and feeling very betrayed about the whole situation. Like, this is not something that we would have agreed to do if we knew all the details. And it was a moment to show that Cassie, as like a party leader, someone that you guys would have trusted to help push you through these sort of situations, kind of lose her cool at the same time, and being in this moment where she's just like, fuck, we just gotta do what we have to do now. It's it's too late, and B, maybe there's something that she can do. In her head, she's like, maybe there's something I can do for Eva later on. But I don't think that she was used to being betrayed like that, or is also very careful at this point in her career about not being betrayed by people like that, even though she knew what kind of a shitheel the Baron was. And Morden,
man, Morden was great. He never yielded a single inch with any sort of humanity or
that was hard.
Likability.
That was hard too. I want you guys to ask so many questions, and he was just like, "Oh, you guys aren't asking the right questions." Like, he's such a dick. He's not gonna open up. Kind of, you know.
Even if you read his mind.
Even if you read his mind.
Yeah.
No, he rolled really high on that save, dude. I really wish you.
That was a cool idea, though, man.
I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it at all either. It was so good. Oh, that's later on.
You had a few times where like you had some great moments with your spells. That.
Oh my god.
Where,
I mean, enemies abound.
Enemies abound is really
enemies
powerful.
abound. Oh my god. So I've never seen anyone use that spell before because
it's fun.
It's from an extended like
Asha's or something.
Book. It's from Xanathar's.
Okay.
Never seen anyone use it, and so that was just fun to see that play out and how it actually worked.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That was like your first caster, right, Justin?
Yeah, it was one of her only moves she could do because she just was not.
We lost Justin.
Oh, we lost Justin. Well, let's skip back for a second because I did want to ask Lessa more about finding the parchment. Well, I mean, we kind of covered that too. That was a good opportunity to show you more information about the siphon.
Right. Yeah, it kind of worked out because she was already hiding in there as well, so it made sense.
Obviously, we weren't able to get into it that much, but again, seeding stuff for future games, perhaps lesson words would be awesome to see again in that respect.
Yeah, and seeing the connection of where the siphon had kind of gone, because it went kind of south through the lands and made its way into what was it? Someone the Great, I think is what it is.
Balldog the Brute.
Balldog the Brute. Okay, something.
It made its way to Balldog.
That was part of it. Is that the part of the lore that I had fed Hannah about the siphon in that parchment that she found in the chieftain's tent, that the cleric that she was trailing, who was obviously the steel, had taken it to the Azuli Dominion, to Balldog. Like her god had directed her to do that for some reason, and almost like it would be the safest place for it to be. From some
interesting, because I was thinking this was kind of like pre Veiled Threats.
Terramir?
No, it's not pre Terramir. It's
but you're right. I think we had kind of talked about. I just in my head I did correlate the two.
Yeah, no. Well, that's good. Then it caught you by surprise.
It
did. Hopefully, that's another opportunity that we can get into seeing.
But at least you solved that for me a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. Like, okay, no, that's where that is. Okay, cool.
And then after that, thanks for not killing those orc children, Charlie. I really wanted to see what you were gonna do. After you
did, he just prolonged their death, basically.
Cut off their aunts and uncles' heads, and then
gave them some a snack. Here you go.
A snack pack.
Right? Calorie mate.
Here's a Capri Sun.
Here's a Lunchable. I didn't know what you were gonna do, Charlie. I wanted to see what kind of buttons I could push, and I didn't push the right ones. So, yeah.
Oh. And then there's
what
the
other options?
Ambush. Oh, go ahead.
No,
ahead,
you
Jay.
ask yours because I think I should ask mine at the end since it has to do with the end.
Okay.
You were talking about the ambush, but you mean like when they did the next camp on the way out?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
That's when-
that was interesting development that happened.
it's when I had to
The
do
whole
that
thing,
short info dump of Eva's story into the short shot again. I had to give you guys. Oh, okay. Well, Eva's willing to tell her story now, so let's go
Let's
into the
talk
whole
about that.
narrative thing again. Apologies, it's very narrative heavy, but it's just one of those. Okay, well, here's the things that we don't have time to dive into. Any questions about that? The narrative.
I think it was good. I mean, and it kind of made sense that Eva would tell that to Cassie because Cassie is like has easily made all these connections with other people, so that it makes sense that she made that connection quickly with Eva there.
She was trying to be very compassionate too the entire time. She noticed that she wasn't eating or drinking and was genuinely worried about her because of the situation, knowing what kind of home life she might have, really. And I think she herself was very conflicted about bringing her home back to Willowdale, which, I mean, I'm sure if you guys were like, let's maybe help her escape, she would have been like, okay, oh, good, you know. But, you know, she was following your all's lead too. Toward tragic love story. You guys took away the only beautiful thing in her life, really, at the behest of her father. But it wasn't for money. And I think this was also noteworthy because this is where we discovered that Baron Hellstrom was actually responsible for the attacks across the border because of his situation of him wanting to get more money and power and resources from the kingdom.
And yet we still delivered her back to him.
Well, we didn't hear that backstory. Only Cassie did.
No, I mean, you guys were there. You guys were there. Whatever. And again, it was just one of those things trying to appeal to you guys that maybe if Duras understood that it wasn't the actual orcs trying to raise the countryside, they weren't actually raiding, they were retaliating. If you understood that maybe it was the Baron's fault and not their fault, that there would have been some sort of reflection on that, or maybe even, God, River, you surprised me so much as a character. It just, I had to make that one last plea, and at that point, you know, Cassie was just like, let's, like, promise me no matter what, because I was suspected something. You were like, no matter what play I make, you're gonna back me up, right? And I'm like, oh, yes, fine, yes, I will, but let's do right by Eva. And then you end up holding an eye.
Oh, sure, yeah. Eva too.
I don't know. I felt like that maybe I would have been able to even tug at your character's heartstrings with that, but it's just remained adamant she was looking for Feather. So both.
I mean, well, I could have been like, you know, like, yes, let's save her. We'll go, you know.
No,
but like it just wouldn't have played into her.
Absolutely. No, both very respect it and am annoyed by it. But it worked out. It worked out well.
As we sort of wrap it up, we're getting there. We're not quite there, but what about Cassie's murder? You want to talk about?
Allegedly,
what happened? Who was responsible?
She stabbed herself.
And what was the party's reactions to all that?
Morden wanted first watch for a reason.
See, I was thinking like he just honestly just didn't care. But now
really,
I'm gonna go back. Can we play again?
He,
I want to do that mind read roll again. And then
there was
Right.
there was that point where after Eva had told her story and Morden was just totally disrespecting her, being like, "Enough! Are you done? What's done is done. What's happened has happened. You might as well go back home." And Cassie just had enough and was just like, "You and the Baron are going to regret this," and threatening him and wanting to do something about it. But again, there was that block with you. She didn't want to fuck that up. She knew how important that was, that she had to exercise the most restraint that she ever had to. And I feel like Morden felt that she was a threat in the long run. And he murdered her in the middle of the night. Under the guise, it just has so happened that they also, the hunting party, found you guys too. And if you I forgot to mention it, that I meant to say that when River came out, that you found Morden struggling with an orc outside, just right outside of Cassie's tent. I tried to drop these like little clues, and how Morden picked up his dagger, blah 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 and stuff. And when you found Cassie.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's very, very, and not very obvious, you know, but I didn't say the Cassie, outside of Cassie's tent thing. That was something that I slipped up. There's a lot goes on, but yeah, he had to take matter into his own hands with whatever combination of magic and treachery he had. I had to take Cassie out of the equation to see what you guys would do in the long run. That's why I built her up with you guys so much. Like, I really wanted you guys to be like, oh, she's super, you know. And oh shit, and I loved your reaction too, River and Leslie Moore trying to sweet secrets her.
She's okay. She's okay.
Meanwhile, I think I almost went down that combat because you guys kept attacking like other things.
Yeah, you did. You did go down.
Yeah, I went down at the end of it.
Well, I was rolling a lot better with Gall's friend, who was also another superpowered, not superpowered, but a character.
Yeah.
You know. Also, how did you guys react to Eva trying to call out to them? Oh, I know Justin River mistook her for trying to. You casted Bardic Inspiration. I don't remember what else happened, but how did you guys feel about that? I wanted to ask you. You don't remember? Eva called out to looking up his name.
You don't remember?
But she called out an orcish, right?
She did. Guren.
Right.
Guren. She called out, Guren, it's me. I'm over here. Something to that effect. And I should pull up my orcish. But yeah, you guys killed him too. Right after he killed, or not killed, but downed Duras.
Yes, I think because he was attacking Duras.
And that's fair.
No, there's no like stopping that. But also, Lessamore didn't understand Eva.
Absolutely, and that's totally fair. And well, I'll tell you this much: Duras didn't bother to translate anything, did he?
Yeah.
Nope. Well, maybe because I was focused on the guys who were just saying they were gonna kill me.
Yeah, true. And you did say that too. To be fair, you're like, oh, they have always tried to kill us, but it was like that. They're like the Klingons. They're like the Dothraki. They're a warring nation, and that was something that was explained in the intro, is that they are a proud, savage.
See, there's the word,
and it's just like, well, you know, I'm savages in the world, as in like the brutal. They're relentless warriors that that won't give an inch, and that's part of their strength, is this whole imagery. I feel like the Carrerians and all of Terramir, know about the Azula Dominion. They're probably some of the most fiercest warriors in the land, and that's why you don't fuck with them. And this is why they retaliate, and they take care of their own at the same time. And yeah, there was, I'll tell you this much: if you guys didn't kill Gurren after hearing Eva's story and after blah 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 blah, if you decided to help Eva escape and you didn't kill Gurren, there was this whole other path that you guys are going to take to help Eva escape and confront the Baron yourselves. Because despite what you guys would have done, the Baron was going to get what he wanted, or at least try his damnedest to.
But if River didn't have that bargaining chip, like that wouldn't have worked for her.
Right.
You're right.
Which is why she cast Bardic Inspiration on her.
Sure.
Because he was afraid something was going to happen to her during combat. I just had this idea that something was going to happen to her during combat. So if she had to defend herself with a little wooden stake or something, I was just like, whatever help she could get.
That's you panic cast, and that's fair too. I'm not saying you guys played it wrong. I'm just saying there was always a choice. And when presented especially at this point in the camp, in the long shot presented all of the facts, what were you guys going to do? What did you feel like was the right thing to do? It didn't matter. You guys wanted to do what you wanted to do, and you got what you needed and got what you wanted.
Yeah.
Which is also good because a lot of stuff to write about. A lot of stuff to write about later on another game too.
Yeah. Because I think at the point where he found out Cassie was dead, my brain kind of went more towards what I didn't know Justin was thinking, was like, oh, well, we need an inn to easily just get into the castle and figure this shit out. Like, that seemed more straightforward than... Let's go 500 different ways.
Yeah.
Sure. And again, short shot, I feel like how it played out was probably one of the better ways dramatically, which I'm always in favor for. I especially enjoyed how each of your characters reacted to Cassie's death. It was hard not to... how do I say this? I don't know, like Lessamore and River panic. River being so, I don't know, almost stoic about a lot of things, and then just seeing one of her sisters pass is just that outburst of emotion and almost like rage, like you were pointing your dagger at Morden and just being like, "Shut up!" and we lost Justin, and he's just like, "Yeah, I know." It's just like, "Shut up, you shut up," And Lessamore desperately trying to pour a potion on her and seeing if that would work. And again, Duras, it's not the first time you've seen your comrades fall in battle. That's you guys played it really well.
Yeah, that one stung.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise. I didn't see that coming.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Did you guys? Justin or Charlie, did you see that coming?
No, not really. I didn't think you were going to kill your own NPC.
I know.
Yeah,
I really liked that NPC too. I really
you don't like to kill your characters.
I don't.
Also,
do not.
I'm sure that was a hard.
That's my job.
Thanks, Charlie. At the end of Veiled Threats, killing off most of that party, everyone pretty much but Star was that was hard for me to do too. And killing Cassie for someone so affable and genuine to her party, I was like, oh, I have to kill her. I have to do that. I have to do this to me and you guys, essentially. It was
those are the ones that
because
dramatically work best, is when you lose your best character.
Yeah, and I loved it too at the end, because I was like, "Yo, roll a perception check," and I think Charlie was like, "Where is Cassie?" And I was like, "Funny you should say that."
Yeah.
What did your perception check say? Yep, there it is.
Yeah,
What
I
about
think I also
the,
rolled like a dog shit insight check on Morden.
Mm-mm.
No,
You
did I roll
guys,
with
you
this?
guys did
Yeah,
well. You guys
I thought
did
you had
well
gotten
enough
that. Yeah.
to understand that, and that's how I didn't understand how when you said it just now, like you didn't think that you thought that the orcs actually killed her, and that he was just being he didn't care about the situation. No, he was just like, I don't know what happened. Maybe those guys killed him. I was over here getting my ass kicked. Yeah, so I guess that sort of played out well.
And then what about your next? What would happen next? Your next connections, where this might lead? You had some loose ends, some tie-ins that I feel like we could pick up on another time.
Confronting the Baron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys were dead set on doing that. River didn't even want to let Morden leave. You were like, we're gonna go see the Baron and we're gonna pick up our reward.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna slip away.
Before, Morden. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Good read on him. I don't know if you guys could tell this, but he was always going to betray you.
What? No.
I'm starting to think this guy's a real jerk.
Yeah. So you guys get into the hall, you guys confront him, and he betrays you, obviously, and his big dude comes out.
Yeah,
his bodyguard,
the mountain.
who, if you guys remember, he was saying that he had mentioned that too. He's like, I'd send my own champion out, but he's less subtle, essentially, for the job. And that was who he was going to send. He would his champion, his bodyguard of sorts, who ended up being an enslaved orc. Something that you only found out because Duras had sliced off or knocked off a bit of his helmet, or knocked off his helmet during combat, and said that he was one way or another under the Baron's influence, which just shows more of the Baron's character.
3 layers of bad. Yeah,
just that's the final thing.
So, man, I was just trying to let those henchmen go, and they just they just really.
Are those your people? Like, yeah, it's just a job, What are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, you did let those other guys go, and that was cool of you too. And it's hard to balance when you have some combat disparities between the party too. But I wanted to give him a challenge. I think that the way that I built Ursian was actually great for how your reaction, River, to holding the dagger up to Eva at the end. And he had a shove ability. He had also a couple of other abilities that would help prevent you from attacking the Baron, but he was just too engaged with Duras and some of the other attacks to even use them. But I felt like it was a challenging fight, nonetheless. Not the other guys were periphery and very distracting.
Oh yeah.
But that's that was part of it, trying to use up all your actions, I think.
Use up that action economy.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys defeated him, and he was not going to give it up. He was going to try to trick you into being like, yeah, Feather's dead, blah, 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 and you're never going to escape. You got to get out of here, and you slit his throat. And you made your way to the dungeons, right?
I'm surprised he didn't try to save himself at some point. Like, knowing how selfish he was.
Happen.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to have like an escape pod or something.
Yeah.
Escape pod.
In the interest of time. In the interest of time. Morden 2. Morden too. Morden almost got out of there, and then you guys shot him in the back, which was really surprising because I thought that River or Lessamore was going to be the ones to really give it to Morden. But no, it played out the way that it did. They could have escaped, but what would have been the point, really? I wasn't going to leave that mess for Wes to clean up in the campaign.
Thank you.
So obviously at the end I was just like, we don't know what's going to happen. It was hard to sort of clicking it sort of
Charlie.
to wrap it in a way where it was like going to be the consequences of your choices led to this, but really it's after a brief moment of instability, it would have just picked up. Yeah, everything would have worked itself out. And that was kind of the point, is that the Baron was willing. Part of it was the Baron was willing and had the ability to take care of things at the border. But really, anybody with the appropriate amount of skill would have been able to. He was just the shitheel, the opportunist that was in the right place.
Even a real Baron.
Yeah, even a real Baron. But you made your way to the desert or dungeons, and you because I'm trying to get to this part because running out of time. But you made your way to the dungeon, and you found Feather. What'd you think?
I thought that was awesome because for the character, because I was convinced it was like, oh man, he had to give it a tragic ending. All right, I get it for the drama. I get it, but I was still pissed.
This is not Sweet Secrets, you guys. Oh, this place sucks. No, and I thought that was I didn't even think about it really. I'll tell you this much until the last minute. I was just like, you know what? Not last minute when I was writing it though. I was like, I want to make him roll the death saving throws to determine her own fate. And the funny thing is that
was interesting.
You could have, if you had any left, could have used one of your bardic inspirations on yourself to sing her to sleep or to back to life or something like
permanent sleep.
Life.
No. That was part of it, is that it was up to you. She had lasted long enough with whatever spirit she had, and she saw you. Due to the abuse, she was unable to speak anymore. She became a mute essentially, and you saved her. And I thought, I was like, ooh, okay, good rolls, man. Good rolls. And I only made you roll 2 though because she was on the verge of death essentially.
Yeah, right.
So but yeah, no,
But that's some of the fun stuff with like tabletop role-playing games, man.
Yeah.
Like giving that opportunity, like this could have gone either way, right? Like she could have, like, what a different ending that would have been, if she had died, and
sure
would have been equally as interesting, but like at a different pathway. And that's why we played this. It's so fun.
Yeah. And I really appreciated your reaction to all of that. The RP you did this game, Justin, was phenomenal. It was great. So thank you for putting into that. I thought that was a lot of fun. And you finally got your friend, your childhood friend. You would decide to go home. I didn't think that anyone was going to be like, oh, let's search for a diamond in the Baron's manor. Like, oh, yes, and fine. But you have to go all the way to Career to get it in the Northern Career.
To go to the pits of Mount Doom.
Damn it. Of course the Baron would have a diamond. Why are you guys so smart? Fuck. And you did find the diamond, but I thought it was interesting because obviously River had to take Feather home, and Duras and Lessamore, this thing that was so important to you, but you found that Cassie was resurrecting Cassie was more important. Instead of finding the siphon, did you want to explain why you were trying to find the siphon in the beginning, in the first place? You don't have to.
Is that
Yeah.
I don't mind sharing that unless you guys think it's going to come up again at some point.
Yeah, you might as well. I don't know. It might not.
I think it's yeah. Tell us.
Drop
Yeah.
something juicy.
Oh yeah, no. So she's an archivist back in Panjinen. It's been a job for a while now, and she learned that if she would find the siphon, find the artifact, bring it back to the museum, give it to the government, hand it over to the government, that she would be promoted and she would have access to possibly some files about the knives in the archives, which has some information about a particular somebody, possibly. Could lead to somebody.
I think that's a good enough information.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean your last name and everything. Yeah, I thought that was
we already said up front, but
yeah. So, I thought that was great. That was very sweet of you to really. Oh, thank you for somebody cares about Cassie and us. No, I'm just kidding, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like time is of the essence. Like I've played a cleric before, so I know that there's like a year or 10 years with a diamond,
like a week or two.
It's like there's it was
There's
either like a minute
levels.
or a couple days, a week. Yeah, exactly. And you guys
5
did
second
find
rule.
Yeah, well, more like the longer you wait, the more expensive the spell components get.
Okay.
So, right.
And the higher level of the spell, like True Resurrection, is like the highest, which you only. I don't know what I think the spell components are very expensive, but like you don't need anything of them.
Oh, I thought it was like 5,000. It's not the 5,000 diamond.
No, I mean I don't. Aside from that, you don't need any component of the body.
I didn't know that. Okay, interesting.
For True Resurrection, and then there's Resurrection, where it's like a very expensive diamond, and you just like have to have at least one piece of the body or something like that.
True Resurrection, no longer than 200 years. So you
got some time. Say there's a chance.
We're gonna cut to like the background of the actual campaign, and it's gonna be Duris, Lessimore, and Cassie in the with the dead body and going to the mages school.
I know we're running out of time, but I did want to ask you guys really quick. Last little bit of information. You guys didn't know where the whereabouts of Eva was, and then we found out about her in the sort of like post-credits scene. Any thoughts about that?
Well, I want you to talk about that again.
You're
approaching the cave. That was cool.
Yeah, she disappeared. She was basically led and compelled to go back into the Zulu Dominion and into the Rahmar Ridge, where Gaal had found that pendant that he gifted her as part of their wedding sort of present or wedding dress necklace, ending up being some sort of artifact for whatever ancient, eldritch, evil, unknown evil, I guess, in this cave. It directed her, prayed, obviously, and again, going back to what I was saying about her maybe hearing some voices before and her being confused with what Lessimore was trying to project in her head when asking her the questions, something that maybe she was very hesitant about, preyed on Eva's weakness. She had nothing left. Everything that she knew she was and had been taken away, and this thing had bargained with her, compelled her to go through this, and she, just the last glimmer of herself, was saying, "No, I don't want any of these things," until it finally offered something that she did want, which was to be with Gaal again. And we'll see what happens with Eva.
That was a cool little teaser post scene there. I was like, ooh, I like the image too. It drew me in. I was like, I want to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also just sort of seeding things for the areas that we haven't explored. There are certain things that I know about the Ramara Ridge after talking with Wes. But I mean, who else knows what lies in those lands between the Zuli Dominion and the Rotmara Ridge? Too, a lot of history to get into, but this particular thing I thought was a good segue into something, just to see what happens to a character when they have nothing else to lose, when they've lost everything, and what happens when they are offered everything in return.
Have we ever done a prologue before?
At
the end of a campaign?
That's called the epilogue.
We've never,
epilogue. Sorry.
We've never really finished one other than the short show.
No, not really. I think the closest thing was after you guys had after Vestala and what's your character's name, Wes? The one that's
the ally you have in the main campaign, Calidor.
Thank you. Calidor went through the portal. We just had a brief glimpse of what happened to Star.
Yeah, that's right.
And the Dark Agent. But we also don't know what happened to Star.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see what I don't know. Lots of things moving. Lots of things turning. We'll see. So, but I wanted to tell you guys, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun with your characters. I, as a DM, learned a lot about players and how to run these sort of things and how to react to some of the things that you guys did. Surprised me, and it's one of those things you're always learning about.
It was seamless, man. It was seamless. We didn't know.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no idea.
Glad you guys enjoyed it too, and I had a lot of fun. So thank you, and I hope everybody else, the viewers, I hope you guys had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah. No, it was fun from my perspective too. I mean, I'm not like the other viewers because I have a tie-in. You guys got to do something fun in Terramir and did something new that I got to enjoy. Something that surprised me. So that was a lot of fun to watch.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah.
But that's two short shots now, and now, Wes, come on, dude.
Done 3.
No, where are we going?
We're gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna lead right into a long-awaited return of the campaign with the Soul Survivors.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get back. It's been over 6 months. It's crazy. But I'm very excited to bring us back into the main story. I have lots of fun things planned. We'll see where you guys go with it. We're going to kick it up a notch right at the beginning. You'll see as we delve fully into Arc 2. It's going to be epic. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to be playing live on June 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. And I actually have a little teaser trailer I'm releasing on Monday. If you want to check it out on YouTube and our social media. Something fun there. And that's going to wrap it up for this Talkin
recorded anything for a teaser.
That's going to wrap it up for this Talkin Terramir. Mike, Charlie, Hannah, Justin, great job with this short shot. If you haven't checked it out, obviously, if you made it this far, I hope you've seen it. But you should go back and watch it. And thanks, everyone. Excited to get back to our regular schedule. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.
Bye.